And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and check out the latest episode, which also is covered in Inside Sports Fantasy Football, where we cover the latest news and trends in fantasy football, plus last minute tips and tricks for your championship game if you have that this weekend, which already has started for many people. I know there's a happy Joe Sorrow because his Steelers won earlier today. So go ahead and check out Inside Sports Fantasy Football or the Pop Culture Cosmos. Also, as well, of course, speaking of Joe Sorrow, you know he's out and about celebrating the great win for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you know he's rubbing it in on everyone else. That's Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And of course, you know he runs a company, Simblades. Simblades for a better lawn.com. Also, as well, of course, the Lakerholics. Of course, unfortunately, they could not decide on a day and time. I think Jamie's a little under the weather, and Laker Tom's doing Laker Tom stuff today. So go ahead and check out what they're doing anyways at Lakerholics.com. You know, the trade proposals are flying fast and furious with Laker Tom at Laker Tom on Twitter, but also as well at Lakerholics.com. And of course, Jamie's 5 Things articles. You know, he's not a happy guy. Not only is he not feeling well, as he told me earlier today, he's probably not feeling well because of what's going on with the Lakers. And he'll tell you why at Lakerholics.com. Plus also, of course, our good friends, Empire Jeff TV. He had a recent show. Got to go ahead and check it out. Empire Jeff TV on YouTube. Also as well, Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5 was also a recent guest of the Lakers Corner. So go ahead and check out what John does each and every time out with his 2 channels, Clutch Talk and the Lakers Corner. And of course, our good friend down under in Australia, Tony B. He runs the Larry Lakers Dribbling Chit Chat. And of course, our good friend, our long-standing good friend, Mr. John McCallion. Hope all is well with him. Go ahead and check out all those great channels. And speaking of checking out great channels, please subscribe today if you haven't already, or like and follow us on Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or any social media you're seeing this on, because if you do, you're going to get the latest notifications on when we go live, like tomorrow with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Search is in the house. What's up, Search? Great to have you here as always. The best mediator that's out there is Search and Destroy. There is none better in the world of Lakerland. That he is indeed. Also, great to have you here, Intel Wild, a supporter supreme that you are. Intel says there's a seriously deathly flu going around the Lakers these days. Yes, there is, but it's also the loser flu as well, because the Lakers have lost and lost and lost. Coming back home, we thought would change things. I honestly thought that the Lakers would get back on the winning track by now. And usually I get a good beat and a good sense of these things. And I thought, okay, new year, couple days off, just had a terrible, couple days on the road. Hopefully change things. New year, turn of the calendar, everything would get all better. A lot of home games looking at in front of them in the front, in the front view for the month of January. Things are going to get right. Things are going to get better. Things are going to get good. But no, not as of yet. After not only 1, but 2 terribly disappointing losses to both Miami and Memphis, really is made for a very troubling time for Lakers fans indeed. And so thus we have another game coming up on the horizon for tomorrow, and we'll see what happens there. But for now, it is the anticipation of what's going on with the Lakers. LeBron James after the game saying it just quite like it is. He said that the Lakers suck right now, which is true. They've been doing so terrible. They've been doing so bad. There's no better way to say it. The Lakers have sucked in recent days and recent weeks since they had the glorious win from the IST, the in-season tournament, the NBA Cup, whatever you want to call it, that banner they hung up there. Yeah, that's great, and that's all well and good. But the Lakers right now find themselves as a team in disarray at 17-19. They're in 11th place in the Western Conference, and they have really got their hands full at this time. They're quickly closing in on the halfway point in the NBA regular season, and they're still finding themselves outside of the playoff picture looking in. What can they do to change this? What can they do to correct this? Well, they did make some minor moves around the fringes today by releasing and waiving Demoy Hodge and Alex Fudge from their two-way contracts from the G League. They were, as far as concerned, Alex Fudge, a athletic defending forward who, stop me if you've heard this before, is not very good on the offensive end. Okay, he absolutely stinks on the offensive end, and it shows. When you're only scoring 8 points a game in the G League, that's not good. That's not good right away. That's not what the Lakers need right away. So they had to make a change. They had to go ahead and send him packing along with Demoy Hodge, a guy who we thought might have some promise. He might still have some promise. So only scored about 11 points a game in the G League, so obviously there's room for improvement there, and the Lakers did not see that they wanted to go ahead and just have anything out there for Demoy Hodge. Oh, until I've got an answer for that coming up. But the Lakers think they might have found a needle in a haystack, a diamond in the rough, actually is a better term, because they have recently signed today Dylan Windler to a two-way contract. He'll be eligible for about 31 of the Lakers' final regular season games of the season, according to Bobby Marks of ESPN. Dylan Windler, 6'6" forward. His most recent game, now, mind you, this is sometimes in the G League, they set these spike games up, and they set up almost like squash matches in the WWE back in the day on Saturday mornings. He got a 22-point, 33 rebound game in the G League in his last game. So after that performance, looks like Rob Pelinka or whoever on the scouting staff immediately clamored Rob Pelinka to go ahead and sign him, and that he did. So Dylan Windler is on a two-way contract now for the Los Angeles Lakers and will be eligible to play about 31 games for the rest of the season. So we'll see what happens there. Will he give us 22 points and 33 rebounds in, 3 games, 4 games? Search and Destroy says, the G League kid will save us. All hail the savior, Dylan Windler. I said that to Magic earlier today on a DM, and he died laughing almost because he thought that was so funny. The Lord Savior, Dylan Windler. Yes, there you go. But we'll see if he can actually provide anything for us in 31, the next, 31 out of 46 games under his current two-way deal. So we'll see what he can do for us. But yes, he did score 22 points and 33 rebounds in his previous G League game. He's had stretches and even actually had a little bit of a cup of coffee earlier this year with the New York Knicks. He's had tastes with the Cavs. He's had tastes with other teams. He's had bites at the apple from the NBA, but not been able to stick. About a 37% three-point shooter. So, okay. A little bit above average. We'll see what happens if he can actually stick in the league this time. If he can actually give something to the Lakers that they sorely need. So we'll see what happens. But Darren says, what's the line in Vegas for tomorrow's thumping? I think it is about 10 at this point, is from what I last saw. It was at right around 10 was the point spread at this point in time. So, with the LA crowd in town on the weekend, they usually bet on the Lakers. So I imagine that, Darren, you and I both know, if you're familiar with the Las Vegas scene here, the Southern California people, they come up for the weekend, they bet on the Lakers, and that odds seem to go a little bit swayed, a little bit different than what it actually should be. So I have a feeling that by the time game time rolls around, the Lakers will not be as much of a underdog as I think that maybe they should be or will be during the course of the game. So we'll see. But Empire Jeff's in the crowd. Truly appreciate you joining us. And also here today, he is here. It is the man behind Simblades with y.com. It is Joe Sorrell. Joe, great to have you here. Kurt of Fair, Intel Wild, all of our great crew. Darren is in the house. Absolutely. Bloodhound. Cannot thank everyone enough for stopping by. I would say that we're in for I don't know, most people are talking about getting a beating on Sunday, but we did make a new signing, Dylan Windler, again, the G League phenomenon coming back into the league on the two-way. Do you think he will provide anything at all for the Lakers this season? This is what it's come down to, Joe. This is what it's come down to.
So let's say he has a good game on Sunday. Are we going to anoint him the next big star?
Oh, I already called him the Lord Savior to Magic
33
Man.
rebounds?
Yes. In his previous G League game. Yes.
Well, it's certainly better than nothing. If we can get him the rebound, that would be a huge benefit. I think if we can solve that problem, then we can probably figure out what the other problems are, like making shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he shoots about 37% too. So yeah, he does everything. He's so good. He's absolutely.
I got
Congrats
a little
to your Steelers, by the way. Everybody's saying in the chat.
Appreciate it, guys. Yes, it was unfortunate that the coaching staff couldn't put in Mason in before the two games that they used Trubisky, because I think if they had put him in both those games, I think they win at least one more and we'd be in the playoffs right now. But proud of what they've done here the last few weeks, and I'm hoping that the Bills or Jacksonville lose tomorrow, so we can have a chance to see what they could do here, get a little playoff experience. The question will be: will they play Kenny Pickett next week? The answer is probably no, if they play. But I did see something. Sean and I have been talking here for the last couple days.
He's supposed to be resting, by the way.
Yeah, I was supposed to rest, but then I saw you solo and I felt bad. So I said, you know what? I'm going to.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. See, I do care about Gerald Glassford, folks. There's a quote from Bam Adebayo. I'm gonna read this to you guys. This is from a tweet. I think it's a tweet from our Lakers or something like that. Bam Adebayo throws shade at Darvin Ham. Quote, Spoelstra is never going to lower himself to blame guys being out if we lose. You got 15 guys in the roster for a reason. Wow. One of the few times I can say that another team sticks their nose in somebody else's business, but I wouldn't maybe call it that. I think just call it what it is, right?
Yep.
So for those of us who think not everyone knows, guys, these are professional athletes, professional executives, professional coaches. It's very obvious that these guys know what's going on. What we see is what they see, if not even more. So the secret is out, if you will. Darvin Ham has a reputation right now of being exactly what we call him, and that's an excuse machine. And when your coaching leader keeps throwing excuses, that's usually the sign of death. So the vote of confidence always cracks me up, right? He's all like, we're in line with Genie. I don't know how many times I've seen that in my life, either in any sport. Oh, he's got our support. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, he's fired. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here other than we're going to have to gauge it. Obviously, I think if they lose 10 in a row, he's going to have to go. They're not going to have a choice. If they win tomorrow, then, of course, things kind of settle back down a little bit. Not sure if D'Angelo's going to be playing tomorrow. It's looking like we need him. At least a guy that can make a shot here and there. I didn't realize how valuable he was when he does play. Even if he's there, it seems.
Minnesota wouldn't say the same thing.
Well, here's the thing. It seems like they've been terrible without him. At least when he would not play well, they still somewhat had something.
You're talking about the Lakers, not Minnesota.
No, I'm talking about Lakers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's just a weird thing because he would play tragically here, like let's say in the second quarter, and then he's not playing in the let's say the fourth. But it seems like since he's been out, it's just not working. Well, it does make sense because he's one of the few guys that can hit a mid-range shot. Rui Hachimura can hit mid-range shots, and that's really what's been killing them, is they can't get that mid-range shot. So all those zones that they were throwing at him, the way to bust it would be to hit those mid-range shots to keep him honest. And that's been the adjustment by Miami and Memphis the last two games. But there's so many issues. It's not just Darvin Ham. There's so many issues with guys not staying healthy, guys that aren't focused enough to play well. They're not shooting shots well. They're not. If they're not going to listen to let's say right now, if they're not going to listen to Darvin Ham, you would think that, okay, well, how about don't listen to him for good reasons? Can you go guard the guy at the 3-point line? And after a while,
it'd be nice.
After a while, if Marcus Smart keeps hitting a shot, you might want to put a face to him. He's not that tall. You could put somebody like Cam Reddish or I don't know, Christian Wood to at least
Vanderbilt or somebody.
Make it hard for them to see. But the Budenholzer way is a terrible, tragic way of playing basketball. Stop leaving those guys open. This is 2024. These guys make those shots now. This isn't 2005. I had a discussion, actually. I'll end this before I let you continue here, Gerald. The old timers talk about how today's player couldn't play in the 90s. If you're allowed to club guys at the 3, I agree. But if any of these teams played in the 90s, the guys in the 90s would have no shot at stopping. These guys can shoot. I mean, look at Bain. Look at Desmond Bain hitting a logo 3, nothing but net. That stuff didn't happen 15 years ago. Steph Curry started that. And now everybody plays like that.
Because they practice that stuff all the time.
They practice it. Hey, these guys can shoot from anywhere. They're snipers. They're all snipers. Even the ones that stink can get on a hot run. And everything's devised for that. So at the end of the day, it's still basketball. You need to get the ball in the hoop. And that's that. You gotta play like everyone can make an open shot, folks. Doesn't matter if they stink. Except the Lakers, of course, because they don't really make the shots. But they do guard. I mean, I did see Memphis guard some guys, so they couldn't get a clear shot most of the time. How about we do that too? That's all I'm asking for.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell from Simblades, SimbladesWithY.com, and of course, as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. It is me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Tomorrow, don't forget, we have our pregame. And also as well, our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. We'll try to do another simulcast on all of our outlets for the Lakers and the Clippers. And of course, the best post game for the Lakers can be found nowhere else than right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Intel Wild dropped in the super chat. Truly appreciate you doing so, Intel, as always. Great to have you doing it. He says, Joe, what is the massive hugs Ham gives all the starters before the game start? Did Phil or Riley hug players before the games? Shake my head. Here we go.
I'm not gonna say that that's not good. Didn't Phil Jackson smudge people with the Eastern American Indian type stuff?
I mean, there's a lot of glad hand. And the coach, depends. Sometimes the coach is just in conversation with his assistants. Sometimes he's actually involved with the players.
It's much easier to hug, smudge, and say I love you to your players when you know how to coach. We don't care that Vince Lombardi said he loved loved players, because he was a great coach. Phil Jackson could meditate with his guys and give them books and talk to them privately, whatever. But it's easy when you have Michael Jordan there, right? Winning championships. That doesn't concern me. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think that's for or against in my book. The problem with this team is it's everything at this point. It's just not clicking. And unless these guys start to really take hold of what they really want to be, they're just not going to be able to go anywhere where we want them to go, where they need to go. So I don't look at that. I don't not too concerned about it. I don't think it matters.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, right now, what we have is a big problem on our hands because the team is starting this homestand and it's gone over 2 against teams that really they should have beaten. You had a depleted Miami team without their best player, and then you had Memphis 11-23 in the midst of a a reeling as far as what 1 out of the last 5, I think was what their record was heading into that game, and they had just played a game on the previous day. It was a back-to-back for them, and we still managed to find a way to bungle and basically just find any which way we couldn't complete that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter was surprising in many ways about how they just gave up. They literally looked like they gave up. LeBron and AD gave you 30 plus points, but still saw what was going around them and just gave up. It looked like it from after that 6-minute mark, or whenever Marcus Smart or Desmond Bain would, snap off a 3 late in the game, just looked like they gave up from there.
Yeah, it's looking at the roster, it's not a good roster. Minimum type players are not, unfortunately, typically difference makers unless they're good at the beginning of their career. Someone like, let's say, Caruso. But if you have a veteran who's been around for a while and he's still playing for the minimum, and you're using him as a starter or giving him regular minutes, that's usually a bad sign. It's just a bad sign that you don't have enough talent on the team. And Darvin has a lot of the blame in my book. A lot of the blame is because he's not a professional coach. He's an excuse machine. And that's the first no-no when it comes to a head coach. You saw LeBron yesterday, be honest. He said, we suck right now. And I'm not, if you say anything but excuses, I'll be on board with you. But to say that guys are not playing and this and that, I'm like, well, what was it when they were playing? You were still losing. What was it? You've lost 10 of the last 13 games. What about the other games that they were playing in when you lost? See, that's not thinking. You're not thinking when you talk like that. It doesn't make any sense. If you were winning and then all of a sudden D'Angelo and Rui were out the last 2 games, okay, I'll buy that. They're out. They're integral parts of the team where they need some shooting and some scoring and some depth. But you were losing before those guys got bounced. So now what? Oh, we're retired from the tournament. That one was really the one that kind of finished me with Darvin Ham. I can't logically let that register. These are still regular season games you're playing. What difference does it make? You played harder, and you get stuck in a trap there, by the way. So are you telling me you played harder in those 6 games before the 7th game that didn't count? That makes you look bad too, if not worse. You're supposed to play hard every game. You're professionals. And these games matter in this league right now. They matter. You are teetering on getting out of the playoffs here. Every win matters at this point. You put yourself in a bad hole. Parity has arrived to the NBA, folks, for the first time in probably 45 years, maybe almost 50 years. There was some parity after the 73 season. You had Golden State winning 75. And even then, teams were only winning once a year. No one was going back-to-back. The last back-to-back champion was in 69 until the Lakers went back-to-back in 1988. So if you look at 73, that was the last year Jerry West played and Wilt played, and they lost to the Knicks in 5 in the finals. And then you had 74, you had the Celtics You had Gold State in 75. You had Celtics again in 76. Portland in 77. 78 was the then Bullets. And then you had Seattle and then the Lakers. There was a little parity there. You didn't know really who was going to win before. It was either the Celtics, the Lakers, the 76ers, the Hawks, and then the Knicks kind of came in there at the end, but that's it. Now we're getting that. We're getting that again. We are getting that again. So every game counts, folks. Darvin, every game counts, especially when you're sitting at 17-9. And you still got a month until you get to the sweet spot in February, where you don't have to travel outside the Pacific time zone. But will it matter? I don't know. I don't think so. Not my confidence is dwindling by the day. You've been losing a lot of home games when you were playing really well. Even when you sucked, you're still playing really well at home. But last few games, man, you've been getting smoked at home. That's embarrassing.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought, to be honest with you, Joe, as I said to our audience, I thought coming into this year, they had a couple of days off coming off that terrible road trip, and they had a lot of home brewing coming up here in this month. I thought, you know what, they're going to get on the right track. They've got some good games coming up. Memphis on the back-to-back should be good. No, and that's you know what kills me most is in that Memphis game again, back-to-back, and with Memphis in that fourth quarter where Memphis should be fatigued the most if you're playing so much within a 24-hour period, 48-hour period. They killed the Lakers in that fourth quarter. That's what hurts me the most. That's what burns me the most. That's what makes me angry is the fact that the Lakers going into that fourth quarter saw a team that should have been a wounded, fatigued animal and just let it off the hook.
No, what they did was they Mayweathered the Lakers. So Mayweather, the last 5 fights he had, I noticed he would kind of relax. He'd lose 2 of the 4 rounds. And then all of a sudden, 5th round hits. He wins the
almost
5th,
like the
the
rope-a-dope.
6th, 7th, the 8th, the 9th. Yeah. And then he'll maybe lose one more round after that. And then he would win in a unanimous decision. Taylor Jenkins played Darvin Ham like a fiddle. He kept them balanced. The game was tied up after 3. And then he turned on the zone. And that was it. So he basically, I might be overanalyzing here, but it's what I saw. I believe he let them coast a little bit, knowing the Lakers are extremely deficient in so many areas. And then once it got to the fourth quarter, and he's like, you know what, we're even. If they were losing like by 10 in the third, he might have turned it on faster, but it played perfectly. I'd say his game plan was, let me coast till I have to. And he did it exactly how you would do it. Exactly. He hustled them for 3 quarters and then dropped the zone, and the Lakers couldn't pick their own rear end after that. And they ended up winning. It was a masterclass of out coaching in my book. One of the more obvious, very, very good coaching versus very, very bad coaching. And we're supposed to have talent, smart guys on the team too. LeBron is supposed to be some kind of a genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So when you hear the comments that Darvin Ham makes after the game, because even LeBron, you got to admit, finally said what we're all saying in that they suck, because they have sucked and they do suck right now. But you hear Darvin Ham making excuses left and right, as you talked about with Bam Adebayo pointing that out. You talked about Darvin Ham saying, why are we, hanging on to every win and loss? It's a marathon. You don't have to worry about every single game. That sounds like someone I used to talk to every now and then, named Laker Tom, because Laker Tom also has that it's just one game mentality. You remember early in the season, last season, when the Lakers were 2-10, Laker Tom was on more frequently then. He would say, it's just one game, Gerald. It's just one game. They add up, my friend. They add up.
Well, we've lost 19 games, and I'd say with the talent we have in LeBron and AD, I'd like to think we should have won at least 5 more out of that 19 losses. All those at home, all those against teams that were playing on the back end of the back-to-back. Look at this. If you look at the record, if you just win 5 more games, you're looking at a completely different look. What are you at, right? 22 and 14. That's somewhat reasonable, being that they did play the most back-to-back games until New Year's. They did win a tournament. They did, play a pretty tough schedule where they're on the road a lot. But are you all gonna play better now? But if you're gonna play that kind of schedule, it's best to play it at the beginning because that's when you're the most fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing a disservice for yourself right now. You're 2 games below 500, and you're playing some really good teams here in the next week or two. This thing could get away very quick. And then go ahead and ask that question of, it's just one game. When it's 19 and 25, what are you going to say then? When it's 25 and 40, you're going to say it's just one game? If you have that kind of mentality, I'm sorry to say this, that's a loser mentality. Why was there so much pride back in the day to play all 82 games? Because you're there to do a job. It's not just one game. Why are the greats always doing that? Heck, even LeBron. LeBron played 82 games in 2017. Played 82 games after all that he had done at that time. It was a long time. And he had to deal with the fact that Kevin Durant going to Golden State destroyed his rise. He was about to possibly make a another back-to-back run, or maybe even a three-peat. It's just not, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to ever wilt under the current generation of BS. If you want to take games off, if it's just one game, then turn in your paycheck. Turn in your paycheck for that day so that we can go get somebody that could play. That's how I feel about it. My guys, my voice isn't as bad as it sounds.
Just shouting for the Steelers, I was telling them.
No, I wasn't shouting. I think I caught something at the Rose Bowl and it didn't come to fruition.
Oh, you were with what, 100,000 other people?
There I was. Yeah, usually I don't regret it, but I'm never around that many. I don't go to I'm not around people like that, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. If you called me last week and said, look, you're going to go to the Rose Bowl and enjoy a game with your family and Michigan's going to win, but you're going to get the flu afterwards, I still would have taken it.
Intel Wild in our super chat. Thanks so much again for the super chat. Truly appreciate anytime anyone out there gives us a super chat. It really helps us out here at the Lakers Fast Break. Yes, off topic, guys, but do you think in the next 5 years the NBA will add a 4-point logo shot? I'm going to say I hope not. I'm not going to say that they won't. I'm just going to say I hope not, because we see teams already hitting the 150 mark several times this season. Like, it's not much at all. I mean, Milwaukee, Indiana, they hit it with quite a bit of regularity. Although tonight both teams didn't. They actually both lost. Your thoughts on a 4-point logo shot, Joe? No, I just think it's just too gimmicky. Yeah, you said on the same thing. Too gimmicky.
Yeah, you're good. I would say the only way you can change some things, you would have to expand the courts and make the 3-point line longer. Then that would be something I could go with, but I don't know.
That would help the Lakers so much, wouldn't it?
They
can't even hit the shot now. Where's that?
Yeah.
Maybe they move it in for some and move it back for others.
Yeah, the 4-point shot has been talked about. I know that I think, doesn't the Big Three, when they were playing, did they have a 4-point shot?
No, the ABA?
No, the Ice Cube League, the Big Three.
They might have.
Yeah,
they might have.
I mean, it's fun when it's something like that, but at some point, you kind of lose the classiness of the game. Kind of like how Goodell and the owners have destroyed the kickoff with 90% of the time the kickoff is out of the end zone. At this point, they might as well just start at the 25. They've destroyed that. They have absolutely destroyed that play. And that's one of you have a shot at doing stuff with that play sometimes and getting better field position. But unfortunately, we have to worry about people who aren't tackling right or getting concussions still on those plays.
Well, yeah, I think it's just too gimmicky. I just think you would water it down, and then again, people would be chucking up quite a bit more than what they do as far as those logo shots. And I'm not sure I'm even as a guy who loves the 140, 150 point games, I just that's just too much for me. That's overkill. That's something where for instance, we follow the Lakers. The Lakers are one of the worst shooting 3-point teams that are out there. But yet you wouldn't see LeBron chucking it up from the logo if that was the case. And that to me was it's just not smart basketball. It's just not good basketball if you're always trying for that logo shot. And to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's just bad offense. You have a team like, for instance, the Lakers, who have a hard enough time at this. They don't run too many actions. They don't run too many pick and rolls. They don't run too many, sets with movement. They don't pass the ball around very much around the perimeter. They don't do the things that other teams do as far as ball or man movement is concerned. And you're asking him, this team that absolutely is infatuated with the ISO to go ahead and shoot more logo shots. That would be just more pain for the Lakers fans out there.
Yeah, I don't, you look at how the game is played now, and most of the general audience doesn't really watch basketball. I think the average rating in the NBA last year was.
Adam says everybody can hit the three these days. Well, not everybody, Adam. The Lakers haven't been doing it. Although actually they did hit 40% yesterday, but did I digress?
The average rating, which is what's always puzzled me about the NBA and their money machine. They averaged 1.59 rating a game. That's the average. How are they getting these cable and satellite contracts, TV contracts?
It's who their audience is. If their audience is in that demographic.
1.5? That's mind-boggling to me, how you can demand billions of dollars from these TV.
Is that overall, or is that in the targeted group?
So the viewership for the 2023 NBA regular season was around 1.59 million across the U.S. TV networks of NBC, ABC, ESPN, and TNT.
What about the vaunted 20 to 45? That's the key.
20 to 45?
There's the total average as far as viewers are concerned, and then there's the ratings that as far as advertisers key on, as far as the demographic. I think it's between 18 and 45 or 21 and 45. Basically, it's the demographic for the people with the most money, as far as that have in their heads. The individuals at a certain age that are willing to spend the most money, the individuals that have the most. So they target that audience. That's the audience that they want the most.
So the popular age, the age group,
which I'm no longer in, and you were.
I'm out.
Kind
It's
of
really 18 to 34.
18 to 34. Okay.
So 18 to 34, you almost half of the NBA watchers are in that age range.
Well, that's why.
But those guys don't have any money.
We have money. Advertisers would say that they would tend to disagree with you. They're the ones most likely to spend the money.
Well, I don't know. I'm still trying to get the grips. I'm trying to see what voodoo these guys are doing. You look at the NFL, they're getting 26 million people watching their shows. NBA is averaging less than 2. That's something I got to learn, man. That's
just for regular season. There's still special events, special time, like for instance, whatever their Saturday night games, you would get between 2 and 4. What did the IST game, the vaunted Lakers game, get that close to 6, if I'm not mistaken. It was a little higher. The number was the most watched game before Christmas in 6 years, something like that. I mean, that's what they taunt. That's what they throw out there. That's what they like to go ahead and advertise, because they don't want you to know what the regular season games like, I don't know, for instance, Indiana at Milwaukee would be as far as it's concerned. They just care what you see as far as those big time matchups on those national TV games and how much they get.
It still doesn't make sense to me. Even those national games, if they're getting a 3-4 rating, how are they demanding billions of dollars on their TV contracts? How does that money come back? I don't know. It doesn't compute.
Compared to the NFL, it seems like a bargain.
So. NFL makes sense because they do have 10% of the population watching the game. That's a lot. 10%. The attention span is a little easier for the NFL because it's once a week, despite the Thursday, Sunday, Black Friday, Saturday, Monday. I think Goodell's hope is to make football every day at some point. Player safety, my ass. But anyways.
So I ask you, my friend, with the Clippers coming up tomorrow and everybody already talking about a blowout and not in a good way for the Lakers, it just seems like there are no answers for the questions that we have as far as the season is concerned. And the preface of this show was, has the season already gone off the rails? Has the season jumped the shark for the Lakers already? So even though it's not halfway yet, has the season gone off the rails for the Los Angeles Lakers show?
Yes. I'd say
can it be recovered? Can it be fixed?
It can, yes. But trying to get a train back on track is very difficult. It's off the rails. You're talking about 2.5 months, and you were supposed to play really well at the beginning when you're the most fresh, and they haven't. Now it's going to get worse and worse. And if they don't get out of this funk and win 5-6 in a row, they're just not. They can't win one game, lose 2, win one game, lose 2. It's too much of that right now. It would be okay if they were playing really well. And even after the tournament, they were still 14-9. Still not good enough to me. They were 17-6 and then hit a little run, but a 13-game run of crap, that's too much. 5-6 games, yeah, but 13 is too much. You want to get out of this funk, you better whoop the Clippers tomorrow.
So let me ask you this. Let's say the team goes 500 for this month. That's what, about 7-7, 8-8, something like that. Next 15, 16, 17 games. Let's put an even number. 14 to 16 games, 7-7 or 8-8. Is that enough to fire Darvin Ham? Do you think that will be enough to,
No, they won't fire him if they finish 500. Probably not. If he loses.
What do the Lakers have to be at the All-Star break for them to make that move?
They have to have a 10-game losing streak probably this month.
Okay.
Maybe even a 7 or 8.
Okay.
But
they've lost 4 in a row now?
I'm still in that mode of who you replace them with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What answers do you have if you send him packing?
If you send him packing, I think Phil Handy finishes the season.
Yeah. But he's not the long-term answer.
No, not at all. Phil Handy's a great non-BSer. He's great at, I guess, connecting with players. But he's not a head coach.
He's had some good player development moments. Alex Caruso, I think he could pat himself on the back for that. Austin Reeves, he can pat himself on the back for that.
The thing is with the NBA, the coach has to be a master psychologist. And on top of that, you have to have talent. You have to have talent. You have to have next level talent. It doesn't. Everyone has the same result. Everyone has the great players that are winning. You look at Jokic. You look at Jamal Murray last year. You had Steph the year before. You had Giannis the year before that. The Lakers with LeBron and AD. Kawhi Leonard in 19, and then 18, 17, so on. You have to have the great players, and that's probably where this frustration is. You have two great players on your team. One of them is in his latter stages, but he's still very effective. So you're not only not doing well, you're not doing well with all-world talent. That's not good. That is not good. And I think he's way in over his head. Way in over his head.
I know JSJ, and great to have you here, JSJ. Wanted to go ahead and mention something. He's talking about how, and I don't want to go ahead and I want to misquote him. So let's bring up right here. He said, I imagine this like the Chargers and Raiders game. If they get blown out huge, then they fire the coach. I will say when it comes to the Chargers, one thing that irritated me, because I told you last week I went down to the Lakers team shop in El Segundo, right there on Douglas. In fact, actually, it's a stone's throw from the actual UCLA Health Center where the Lakers practice on a regular basis. Well, in theory, they practice on a regular basis down there. If you go straight down Douglas, just about I'd say about a mile more, 3/4 of a mile more, and then you take a right. You go into a shopping center that's devoted to the Los Angeles Chargers, and some of the buildings there are even colored in the Chargers colors. This is for a team, mind you, Joe, that is often called the Clippers of the NFL. That's often called the second banana as far as football teams in Los Angeles. Yet they have a bigger presence in El Segundo than the Los Angeles Lakers. How irritating is that when I go? I will tell you, I was really irritated when I drove by it and I see this light blue and Chargers this and Chargers that, and think to myself, Lakers have this rinky-dink little store, and the Chargers have so much more.
I've given up on
just irritating. Just a little irritating.
Asking why the Lakers might be so big it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, and I'm sure they are. I'm sure they get enough as far, but it's just these little things that irritate me.
Yeah, I think this thing's going to be cleared up a little bit once the Clippers are out next year.
And they have their own nice shiny new arena.
It'll be back to just having the
with
Lakers
all the toilets and whatever.
I'm just not. I don't. No one wants to go to El Segundo, really. I don't. That's just me, anyways.
Okay.
I wanted to answer. One of our guys asked a question. It was Mission.
Mission M24. I'm feeling a lot better being D'Lo free.
No, there's another question he asked. Hold on, let me get back to it.
Okay.
Mission, what was your question?
Mission had a question. M24, did you have a question, my friend? Great to have you here in the chat. The best Lakers chat room that's out there is the Lakers Fast Break. It, like Search and Destroy says, if you're new, please subscribe and like us today to go ahead and get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Alan says he's throwing out some stats. It just comes down to effort, and the Lakers just don't have a lot of effort going on right now. That fourth quarter was absolutely miserable. So I think, I'm trying to find what that question that he might have asked that you're shooting for, Joe.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back.
By the way, I do agree that trade is looking like it's a win-win for both the Knicks and the Toronto Raptors at the time. Yep. JSJ said the new Clipper Arena and Crypto Arena. Adam says, I hate to say it, but we're 0-4 without D'Lo. Is he that big of a difference, Joe?
It seems like he is, because he can hit those mid-range shots, and then Rui not being in there was a double whammy.
Okay.
I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, there it is. So Mission was asking me two questions. I'll get to the first one. He asked what I thought about the take on Undisputed with Lil Wayne endorsing DM. I'm going to be cynical on this one. I'm going to say he did that to create conversation. I don't know if he necessarily believes that. I can't prove it, but you cannot deny, if you're watching these games, you cannot deny that there's a deficiency there. I'm sorry, he's not a good coach. He's not a good head coach at all. Not even a little bit. We've had a good sample size. He has no idea what he's doing. The second question was, crazy question, but a while back I wanted to ask Joe if he's had any paranormal activity in his house. I remember seeing objects move in his background. Just curious. No, I do not. You know what I used to tell my kids is, so they wouldn't get scared of ghosts, I used to tell them, ghosts don't show up because they're scared of daddy. We never had one problem with ghosts while they were growing up. Well, they're still growing up, but when they were babies. And I mean, I've been to the Whaley House down in San Diego. I stood outside when everyone had left. It was just me, the open window, and a staircase in the back. I stood there for like 2 minutes. I said, okay, mother effer, show yourself. I'm going to stay here for 2 minutes. I even timed it. Come on. I just sat there because their door had a window and it was dark in the back, but enough to see the staircase. And then there was a little light that you can see. And then they had one of those old school, like little curtains where you can see on both sides. So I stood there for 2 minutes. Everyone had walked ahead of me. And I just stood there and I watched and I watched. I said, come on, where are you? I didn't see shit. No one showed up. So that's the answer there.
That's Joe Soros' ghost story there for you. All right. Before we head on out, the name that still keeps popping up is Zach LaVine. You know, with the Lakers in such dire straits, there is the tendency for a knee-jerk reaction to try and think that you're solving the problem. And one of those knee-jerk reactions, according to a lot of fans, not just here in the chat, the world's best chat room that's out there at the Lakers Fast Break, but also as well out there in social media that I have seen, is Zach LaVine. Your thoughts, my friend? Will the Lakers end up making a knee-jerk reaction for Zach LaVine or someone else that's going to make you scratch your head even more?
Well, the only reason why Zach LaVine is in the news is there's some talk that Golden State or Sacramento might get him. I'd say it makes sense for Sacramento.
Now that Kuminga wants out.
Kuminga wants more playing time. I think there's a disconnect with Steve Kerr. Won't allow him to kind of be him. I don't know if that's just kind of like a Cam Reddish thing where in the NBA, it's very easy to know you either are the guy or you're not. I rarely have ever seen someone who doesn't get enough playing time go somewhere, demand to go somewhere, all of a sudden turns into a superstar. This rarely happens. NBA talent is very easy to dissect and to understand once they're playing. So I don't know if that's going to be a big part of, hey, let's put it this way. If anybody can pay that money, but I don't know if they're going to go over to the hard. I mean, they're hard capped, aren't they?
They're in the second apron.
Do they have the balls?
Even with all the reductions and the suspensions and all that stuff, they're still way over.
Are they going to trade either Clay or Draymond Green in that deal? That's what would have to happen.
Wait, but remember, Clay is like 43. That's a lot of players in the Lakers end to go ahead and trade. Let's just say that
they would be hard capped if they made that trade without using those guys or one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's.
And as long as they stay over the second apron, this would be the last time they could do a multiple player trade because you have to do a one for one. You know, if you're stuck in that second apron, I think following the season, you're only allowed to do a trade if it's just like one for one. You can't do multiple player trades, I believe, after that under that new second apron agreement. So if you're on the second apron, they really just they put the clinches on you.
The NBA really are just. I don't know, man. I'm a 1.59 rating for what? Look, man, basketball's different. We don't need parity in the NBA. We want great teams. Wasn't Cleveland and Golden State some of the highest rated finals games of the last decade? Those guys met each other 4 years in a row. I don't know what it is with these guys and wanting parity in this league. It's impossible to have legit parity in these because there's not enough superstars. Basketball is very limited. We think certain guys are superstars. They're not. We've anointed them superstars by circumstance. Bradley Beal, he gets paid like a all-time great, but that's because he had the right time in Washington to get his contract. He's not even a third-tier player in my book because he's never available. But what about when he's available? Yeah, I'll give him a third-tier player, but he's never available. So right now he's not. I don't know. You make a terrible product that way. No one cares about what's going on in New Orleans. You have Zion Williamson, who's supposed to be the next great player. No one cares. People in New Orleans, I know people from Baton Rouge, they don't even know who the Pelicans are. They don't even know when they play. No one cares about Zion Williamson. No one cares about Brandon Ingram in New Orleans. No one cares about Melo Ball in Charlotte. See, if you look at the NFL, every star on each team, there's something there. C.J. Stroud in Texas, Tank Dell. You go to Green Bay, Jordan Love. You go to the Steelers, you got T.J. Watt. You got every team has a guy that people will kind of flock to. NBA, like half the teams in the NBA, no one cares anything about. So I'm just puzzled. I'm just puzzled by what happens with these trades and how Chicago now starts hitting the reset button, and then what? I don't know.
It's funny because we're in a situation where we're so desperate they're trying to stick Drummond from the Bulls back on us. And I'm like, if it didn't work the first time, why would you want to try it again? You know, Drummond has to have the right fit around him in order to still at his age and his level, because he can still throw out those double doubles on occasion and just reach back in the past every now and then. But it didn't work with the Lakers. It just was not a good fit. If you cannot see that, I don't know why you would want him back. Yes, he rebounds. Absolutely. One of the best rebounders in the game. But it just didn't work the first time. Why would you want to make it? Why would you think it would work this time around, Joe?
I don't think I want to get into that really. I think that's
okay. Well, but you agree with what I'm saying, right?
We're so past that kind of talk.
Well, our audience isn't.
Drummond is a fossil in today's NBA.
I mean, he's played well in place of Vucevic.
He'd be a bigger fossil here, especially with a coach that struggles with basic alignments.
Yeah. Not the right answer. I mean, not the right answer. But they are running out of answers. They are running out of ways that right now
the mental team, part is already jacked, folks. There's excuses being made almost 3 months into the season. 3 months. It's an excuse machine. Your head coach is an excuse machine. The head coach is supposed to tell his players, stop making excuses. He's making excuses. That's terrible leadership, terrible mentality. And him saying, I've been through worse. I'm like, okay, we're not talking about life versus basketball. We know you've been through worse. And we appreciate that you were able to get through that. But this is sports. This is coaching a basketball team. I'm not trying to trivialize it, but it doesn't matter what you have to deal with in that world. We need someone to coach this team. Whether it's you bad, this good, it's irrelevant. It's apples and oranges. If anything, if you've been through worse, why are you using excuses? You should be hardened by now. It's my guess. But maybe I'm insensitive. I don't know.
Why would they Orlando want to get rid of Goga Batazzi? I mean,
Look,
he's played well for him.
Orlando needs to do nothing but
Yeah,
continue to build what they're building.
they're playing well now. They
Don't
have a better
screw up
record
your
than the
team.
Lakers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Orlando, don't screw up your team. You guys
They
have it.
got him off of waivers, and it's been a great find for him.
They haven't. They got a second chance with Dwight Howard, and after the Shaquille debacle after 4 years, where they made a major mistake, not giving him whatever he wanted. After Dwight Howard left, they've been in flux since. Now they're starting to get back on their feet. Don't ruin it for yourselves, folks. Keep developing the young players. You've got a lot of talent. You got a good coach. Make sure you focus on what matters. Try to build your team as best you can, and then I don't know. Maybe if you have a free agent slot open, you might have somebody come there. It's usually very hard though, but it is Florida, so you have a shot.
We'll see. But yeah, Orlando, I don't think they're there yet. Right now with Boston dominating the Eastern Conference and Milwaukee and Philadelphia there, asking Orlando to do anything beyond those teams is a lot. But again, they're heading in the right direction. They've got a nice young core. And I'm so glad Suggs is finally shaping up to be the player that I thought he would be immediately coming out of the draft. I thought he was going to be the best rookie that year that he came out, and I really was behind him. And I'm glad that it's finally working out for him, and he's finally putting things together on the offensive end. I never doubted his defense and his leadership, but his offensive game really had in the first few years had just betrayed him. And now that's finally coming around. Scored 27 the other night. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what Orlando will do. But the time is now for other teams like Minnesota and OKC. And I think that's something that's also surprised us, Joe. For every Phoenix, the Lakers, and Golden State that's had a very disappointing season, Joe, Oklahoma City and Minnesota have really surprised us. Is their time now? Should they go in all in now? Should they go and see what they can do to try and make an impression to get above Denver in the Western Conference this season?
Oklahoma City?
Both Oklahoma City and Minnesota.
I don't know if Minnesota has enough. I don't know if they'd want to expand on what they already have with Edwards, Cat, and Gobert. They'd have to trade one of those guys. Obviously, it's not going to be Edwards. And I don't know if you want to trade Cat. I think you got to ride it now. You're first in the standings. Continue to get better. Oklahoma City does need one more guy. They do need one more guy, but I don't know if this is the year to go after it, because maybe they might not need another guy. We know Shea Gilgeous is going to be a star. Are we waiting on? Who else are we waiting on in Oklahoma to be the next guy? Let's say the number 2. Is Chet Holmgren the number 2? Do you feel that he's the number 2?
He may not be yet, but he's on his way. He's
on his way. Question is when. So if Presti is patient and says this guy's going to be the 1A to Shea Gilgeous, then you just continue to make sure the other 12 guys on the roster, 13 guys, are integral, are perfect players around those 2 guys. And then maybe in about 2 or 3 years, you might make a run. That's how I would look at it. They're already there right now with Chet Holmgren being really a rookie. So keep that continuity, keep that chemistry going. Minnesota, you finally are getting it right after all these years. I thought they weren't going to be as good, but they finally put it together. They're finally putting it together. I don't know if it'll last, but I'm going to guess it's almost the first week of January, looking like it will.
JSJ, I will say before we head on out, they didn't need to draft a big man at that spot, at JHS spot. They just needed to draft someone who could be a good rotation player sooner rather than later. And it looks like when you see with Jaime Jaquez Jr., who was drafted right behind him, you saw him earlier this week, for Miami playing extremely well. Podziemski for Golden State has played really good. Julian Strother for Denver has played good. Trace Jackson Davis, who was picked after Maxwell Lewis, a guy you spent money to move up in the draft to get, who you've not played a single iota for real. I mean, okay, he's played some garbage time, but you haven't played him at all in any meaningful minutes here. That shows you where his development's at. That shows you what they think of him right now, that he's not ready. Yet Trace Jackson Davis, who was drafted behind him, he's playing key minutes off the bench for Golden State and doing pretty good. So a big man, they could have drafted Triple J, Jaime Jaquez Jr., at the slot of JHS's slot and had themselves a productive guy with a 4-year college guy coming off the bench right away that would have fit in your rotation. Now, Joe, I believe him when he said the other day that he probably wouldn't be playing as well as he is in Miami, but he would still be much more effective than what JHS is right now. And then in the second round, you could have gotten a Trace Jackson Davis to help shore up that big man need. These are misses, Joe. These are valuable misses when you get these opportunities that you blow. And then, of course, we won't talk about the Max Christie deal. Max Christie, the jury's still out on him, but you spent millions on moving up in the second round to get him as well. And Cam Whitmore, as Joe and I have referred to a lot.
I don't know if they're overthinking this. It's just we've complimented the Lakers on their ability to get good players in the later rounds and in free agency. You can't completely dog them for the good that they've done. Alex Caruso, Austin Reeves. In the past, I know he kind of faltered there at the end with us. Taylor Norton Tucker is an NBA player, second round pick. He's still, doing relatively well considering his draft position. Jordan Clarkson was another one. Larry Nance, first round late pick. The Lakers have done good picking players, but this last one was a bad one.
Cam Whitmore, 12 points tonight against Milwaukee.
I'm sorry, I didn't talk about it a lot at the time.
In 13 minutes.
But the reality is you got to pick the best player available no matter what, especially that late in the draft. I don't know what they were thinking getting JHS. I really don't. He doesn't embody anything that's really positive in the NBA. He's not particularly big. He's not particularly fast. He can't shoot the three. And from the looks of it, he plays scared.
He can't defend either.
Yeah, but you got him for those reasons. You said, at least indirectly, you said this guy's going to be the guy that might be a replacement for D'Angelo Russell. They didn't say that, but by your draft selection, you try to find a guy that was almost similar, which goes to show you that maybe D'Angelo Russell, if you were to redo the 15 draft, you probably pick him in the mid-teens, late teens, based off what you've seen.
Arthur says Demoy Hodge was killing, and thank you again, Arthur, for the super chat. He said Demoy Hodge was killing the G League. He was only averaging 11 points, but let's see his 30-point shooting as far as it's concerned. I'll go ahead and I'll reference it and I'll look it up right now. But yeah, he was, according to him, killing the G League. Why did we cut him? We never really gave him a chance other than some spare garbage minutes. I will say you're right there. We never really gave him a chance against NBA level competition. I think he got a second quarter or late first quarter play like once, I think, this season. Your thoughts on Demoy Hodge? We thought he could, he may still be able to stick in the league. If he can be consistent from the outside.
Well, separation from his guy will be a big challenge for him. He's not particularly big, not very laterally quick. He can shoot, but you need to get him the ball in a spot where he has some distance to make a shot. He shot very well. I was very impressed with his shooting.
During Summer League, he was fantastic.
Yes, but Summer League and G League are so astronomically different than NBA basketball, and so much different than Lakers NBA basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different, and I hope he goes somewhere and is successful. He deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think the kid has to have a shot to make it. He was averaging, according to the stats, was about 10, 11 points a game, which in the G League you need to dominate, I think, for you really get attention. That's why the Lakers picked up Dylan Windler today after a 22 point, 33 rebound. That's right, 22 points, 33 rebound game in the G League. He gets signed by the Lakers on a two-way, so he'll be eligible for a little over 30 games for the rest of the season. Your thoughts again on Dylan Windler, 6'6" guard / forward, has not stuck in the league, has already had a taste of coffee in the league more than one occasion, hits about 37%. Your thoughts on Dylan Windler before we head it out?
I haven't paid attention a lot to South Bay, honestly. But when I heard the stat this morning, I didn't know what they were talking about. I'm sitting there like, Dylan had 22 points, 33 rebounds. Like, who the hell is Dylan? Then I start doing some looking into him, like, oh, I was just amazed at 33 rebounds. Any league, any place you can play basketball, that's still an impressive stat.
6'6", I believe he is.
Shoot, man. I mean, that's still amazing, man. At 6'6", 33 rebounds. Man, that other team he was playing must have really sucked. But man, 33 rebounds, that definitely warrants at least a look at. And I'd love to see if he could be a little secret weapon maybe out of nowhere that can get those 50-50 balls on rebounds. That's the other thing, too, by the way. I want to give LeBron some credit here. That little play he had with Memphis' Triple J, where Jenkins went all nuts. LeBron dove for that ball and got the ball. I used to see Derek Fisher always win those 50-50s doing that. I was very happy for LeBron doing that. Those are the type of things that you want to see.
Yeah, exactly, Darren. Remember when the press releases was like, oh, he's JHS is the star of minicamp. He's the star of what was going on. Well, let's see it. Let's see it happen. Let's see it in action. And we did. It never materialized in exhibition games, in summer league games, in regular season games. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I wish we could stay positive, but we're not given a lot of positiveness here.
No, but we've always called it like it is, man.
Yeah, but and this is the problem too. I knew that there were deficiencies, but again, it's tiring. It's tiring to be negative, even if it's legitimate. It's not really negative. It's calling it how you see it, right? But it comes off negative regardless. It takes down the enthusiasm. It takes down the enthusiasm. It's because everything is so negative everywhere at every moment these days. Because that's what moves everything. People are miserable, or either that, or people want to see bad news. They don't want to see good news. So there is a little bit of stretching, a little bit, where I don't want everything to be bad. It's just exhausting. I thought about this the last couple of days. Every time I click on any news, always negative. I'm tired. I don't want to just unplug at this point. I don't see any negativity when I don't listen to the news or I'm on social media or whatever. I don't hear any of this stuff. I go to the grocery store. I go to work. A lot of positive there. A lot of positive
The
stuff.
wife goes, Joe, I need get some milk. Can you get some milk? Store.
That's everyday life. That's stuff. And milk is a big thing for me because I'm a big cereal eater. So it have been since I was a kid. So milk
Which
is
kind?
very important. Geez, growing up, there were 3 that I would eat.
Love Raisin Bran.
I'm not a big raisin guy, but I it's not bad. Cocoa Krispies is my all-time favorite.
Yeah, and it turns to chocolate milk too. But then
That's
again,
so
but
good.
once the milk goes chocolate, it's like the rest, the crispies, they're no
It's
longer crisp,
so
they're
you
all
got to make sure you
soggy.
get all the cereal out, and then it's just like, oh, it's so
There you
good.
go. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah,
Fruit
I
Loops.
know. I agree with you. I've done it.
Yeah,
I've done it.
if I ever get bored, want to change it up, I was eating Fruit Loops or Frosted Flakes. When I got older, Cinnamon Toast Crunch became very, very good.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just like that one. It's not good. I felt like I ate a brick most of the time.
Cookie
But
Crisp are underrated. Low key underrated.
yeah. Now, if I wanted to drop weight when I was a kid, I'd get Wheaties without sugar. It tasted like crap, but in my head, I was like, I'm eating something without
I
sugar.
did Cheerios. Still do Cheerios.
Honey Cheerios, we will have every now and then.
Total, I've tried to get into Totals. That's it has to be Totals with raisin. So
you like raisins in an oatmeal cookies too?
No, I don't like oatmeal. See, so weird. I don't like oatmeal raisins. I only like chocolate chip, but I do like raisins in the cereal, like Raisin Bran and all that. So.
The thing with
'Cause it
Lucky
hides the
Charms
brand.
is
It
I don't
hides
like
the
the
taste of
texture
brand.
of marshmallow on. I can eat it, but I don't like the texture of the
Frosted Lucky Charms,
It's too
romantically
powdery.
delicious.
It's too powdery. It's like I'm eating sugar in a bulk.
Mega Driver, absolutely. Anthony Davis has done everything that we've asked him to do, because I know that Joe last year was on Gerald, stay on that train with Anthony Davis. Then we saw his inconsistency as far as from the offensive end in the playoffs. Not saying anything defensively, just on the offensive end. And then this year to start the season, he was, again, up and down, up and down. But since mid-November, Joe, maybe late November-ish, but mid to late November, he has been incredible. He has done everything, Joe, that we have asked him to do. And it's so unfair that this team has not been able to produce around him. LeBron, for 39 years old, yeah, he was terrible in the Miami game, but scored 30 plus points in the Memphis game. Yes, I understand he takes defensive plays off, but as a 39-year-old, are you really going to get on his case continuously because of that? They gave you 60 points between them, yet you still find ways to lose. How bad is that? And then you've got Austin Reeves 17 to 20 along with it.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest part about this is usually when we would lose, it'd be because those guys
they're not in the lineup or
one. Yeah. But they're both playing well and they're still losing. That's the heartbreaker here. But that's
Mega Driver, he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year because the Lakers just have a lousy record.
God,
am I wrong, Joe?
I wish they wouldn't do that.
They're going to do that.
It's an individual award. It should go to a player.
They're going to do that, Joe. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to do that. They're going to stick that record and they're going to hold it against him.
I guess we're going to have to just accept the fact that they don't like giving awards to the Lakers too. Look, Kobe and Shaq have just as many MVPs as Steve Nash. Let that register.
They're going to give it to someone like Embiid.
I love Steve Nash, by the way, too, guys. Steve Nash is a good dude, phenomenal player. But it's embarrassing. Shaquille O'Neal has one MVP. Shaquille O'Neal, one MVP, really? I mean, it's just not going to work. But awards or not, we're here to win championships at the end, and we're going to have to ride whatever the hell this is until it's off the tracks for good.
So do you think it starts tomorrow against the Clippers? Do you think that they can shock the world and beat the Clippers tomorrow?
Even if you win tomorrow, will they lay an egg against Toronto the next game? This can't be about one game. You need to be in a 3 or 4 week mode where you're playing really, really well every game. You're not going to win every game, but I'd like to see some consistent, coherent basketball. And I don't want to hear excuses, but they're already giving excuses. This guy's out. This guy's out. Then your system sucks. You can't cover those guys for a couple of games. What are you doing? What are you teaching them? I know you're not teaching Max Christie anything. Making up behind the back pass in a zone and letting them recover in that defense and pretty much jacking yourself up even more.
I know that M24 is talking about us being, on the air the day that Kobe statue gets unveiled. Of course, we'll be here live. We'll go ahead and make sure that we are available as far as in some sort of fashion, as far as during that game. We'll have a pregame. Obviously, we'll be here. We'll make something good as far as that's concerned for Kobe and as they honor him. So I know M24 just by the fact that you're M24, Mission 24, definitely something that Kobe is a big part of your life, and we'll try to see what we can do to make it a special day for you as well. So
yeah, Alan, the mellowness is more about there's a time and place for everything. If I reacted like a psychopath every time something happened, I think it loses its luster. I have a message in the end. It's not just fluff. It's just not fabricating something. It doesn't work like that. I want this show to be informative. It's easy for us to be informative a lot because we know the history. We know what we can compare things to. A lot of people don't pay attention to the history. And just like anything else, the history teaches you stuff so that you can explain now. And then if you're watching something and analyzing it, not just following the ball back and forth, now we give you a different perspective on what's really going on. So we use the Max Christie one as the perfect example of why this team is not coached well. A second-year NBA player should not be making that play. He should be benched. What are you doing? Why are you throwing the ball backwards? It's not like he was trying to save it from going out of bounds. Obviously, that's different. It's bad floor spacing. It's bad floor balance. The wrong people have the ball. Look what happened to Christian Wood when he got trapped in the backcourt. No one came there. It's badly coached. It's a badly coached team. And I hold LeBron sometimes accountable for this stuff because I'm being told that LeBron is a genius. And I'd like to think of, and you can't have it both ways, guys. I hear how LeBron is le GM. No, he's not. He's not le GM. He's a player. If he was le GM, he'd still be in Cleveland or Miami. When he tried to be le GM, he left Cleveland twice. When he tried to get guys fired in Miami, they let him go there too, or they didn't. He left there too. There's a difference, guys. I told you there's a difference. There's 3 phases to this. Executives, the prep guys, the guys that go and find the talent, prepare the team, trades, drafting. Then you have the coach who focuses on game planning, adjustments, things like that. Then you got the players. Players need to focus on playing. They need to be coached. It's not an accident that if you look at all the coaches last 30 years, you got all-time greats winning championships with all-time greats. Most of the time.
Darren saying, JSJ is saying, if we get blown out tomorrow, Ham is gone for sure. Do you think that's going to be the case? I don't
think so.
He already got the proverbial vote of confidence, and he seems very relaxed. He says he's solid for a guy that doesn't seem to be too nervous about his job positioning right now, despite everybody else out there, already having him on the hot seat.
Actually, I shouldn't say no, but
I won't say a definitively 100% no.
I have no idea. I'm more curious on what their plan is.
They don't want to choke on that money unless they really have to.
Is Phil Handy going to make that much of a difference? Maybe the first week. Mm-hmm. And then things settle down, right?
Because usually happens when you get a new coach, you get a bump up in effort and people go, oh, my job. I'm going to, I'm not going to be benched now. Am I going to be, or for another player, am I going to be in the starting lineup? And you see the effort level for, like you said, a week. usually.
It's just I don't think we're in a position to really know what this team is. I mean, you're talking about a 5-year contract now. They're gonna have to pay him for 3.5 years for not coaching the Lakers. That's a lot of money. I don't know what the hell they were thinking giving that guy 5 years. No idea. They didn't give it to Lou. I don't know if Monty was offered 5.
Didn't give it a Vogel.
Didn't give it to Vogel. Vogel won you a championship. Vogel is the first non-Laker coach, or let's say nepotism coach, nepotism Laker guy. I think since Bill Sharman, no wait, Westhead.
Okay.
So these guys aren't used to hiring people that. I just found it hilarious that they hired that guy, and it's almost like they wanted him out before they even started.
A Vogel?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the Jason Kidd thing, and yeah, it's like they already told. Well, you're the third or fourth or fifth choice for us. Yeah, that was just even then we were talking about it then about just he got a raw deal, and we see he's not in making great advancements in Phoenix. I know that if you listen to the guys that on those Phoenix podcasts, like the 805 that Sean's his friends with, obviously they're not happy with the way he's coached there, but yeah, I think he got a raw deal here and should have been given at least another year before you decide.
You didn't give Vogel. I don't think Vogel should have taken the Phoenix job. I mean, you're going to take a job because you want to be a head coach, but that's a terribly constructed team for a Frank Vogel, I guess, culture. He's a defensive guy. And guys like Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are known as not good defenders. Booker's maybe a little bit better, but Bradley's not good. Durant can be effective because of his length, but he's kind of getting old too. Can't expect him to go all out on defense. Not trying to make excuses. Again, I saw a Frank Vogel coach team play very, very well. He's got talent. I saw him almost take out a prime 2 LeBron James in the Miami Heat. He can coach. And that's the problem here, man. It's like there's really no black and white answer when it comes to coach versus player and what's good and what's bad. We have a habit in sports to blame the coach for everything. Other than Dave Roberts, you can kind of get away a little bit from maybe a little bit of reality. I'm hard on Mike Tomlin, and I have some justification for that too, because he tends to not have his teams prepared 2 or 3 times out of the year, no matter what year it is. But I don't know. I'm tired of blaming the coach for everything. I'm getting burnt out from that. It's the same discussion everywhere you go. When someone doesn't win, it's the coach's fault.
That's an organizational issue, I believe.
But the
I
Lakers
always
the Lakers
top to bottom.
The Lakers are just Jeannie she's not an owner. She's not an owner. She's not a good owner. She's a figurehead. She's a figurehead. She makes decisions off what makes her feel good.
Mega Joe agrees with you on Dave Roberts.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see if they blow it next year with Ohtani and Yamamoto, because he decides to take Yamamoto out in the 5th inning because he feels like he wants to save him for the World Series in the wild card round or something like that. But that's I don't want to talk about that. I'd rather worry about that later. But
I hear you.
I am getting burnt out from blaming coaches and stuff. It's at some point you have to start looking at the players and looking at the people assembling the talent. The Lakers, Jeannie is in a lot of ways maybe not the insecure type, like a Jerry Jones or like Dan Snyder was back in the day. But she doesn't know how to hire the right guys in that area. The Lakers need a Jerry West type GM, and I say that in the sense of someone who puts in the work. I just don't see Rob Pelinka being the guy that puts in high school and college time yet. He sends scouts out, which I know all teams have scouts, but unfortunately, it's different when the main guys see stuff versus the minions.
I'll give you an example. I told you, I have the ticket still here. I'm probably one of the few that do for the Victor Wembanyama Scoot Henderson game. But if you're a guy that's really into the draft, like Rafael Barlow was there, he flew in from wherever he was flying in from to get there, and there was so many other people there as far as in the draft, and you had the scouts, and you had the Lakers scout. One of the Bus brothers was there. I saw him. He was at near the restaurant, just talking whatnot. During halftime when I also bumped into Shams and all that. But the guy that you didn't see was Rob Pelinka, and this is just 45 minutes away, Joe, from LA. So it's something he could have done. And it's not just because you're watching Victor Wembanyama, a guy that you can't draft. You were there to watch 7 or 8 different draft eligible candidates that ultimately did get into the draft. So wouldn't you think that he would be there? And remember, they had 2 opportunities. There were 2 games, 2 opportunities to see all these draft choices. And yet Rob Pelinka doesn't bother to go ahead and do that. 45-minute flight away.
Yeah, maybe it matters. Maybe it doesn't in that situation. I might be just grasping at straws again. Like I said,
It's just an observation. That's
at some point, I think you just need to get someone who knows how to do their job. The Lakers have 2 great players on this team. I don't believe they should be in this position. Mm-hmm. And it likely wouldn't if you had picked the right coach. But then at the same time, would LeBron listen to him? Because he's had a history of not listening to newly hired coach type guys. We discussed how Shaq tends to embellish his stories sometimes about how, well, Brian Hill hadn't won anything, and I don't know if I respected him, and I don't know if he actually said that, but you look at the series in '95, I think they should have won that series against Houston. And then Kurt Rambis, Del Harris, he did it to Pat Riley towards the end of his stay. So there's a lot of contradictory things. The stars kind of tend to pollute that sometimes too. So there's this whole, and the great R.C. Buford, the San Antonio Spurs, and Greg Popovich, they pissed off Kawhi Leonard, and he's supposed to be the even-keeled guy. Mm-hmm. So maybe there isn't any answer to this. Maybe it's luck with a little bit of preparation and the right stars. Because that's the only thing to me makes sense anymore. There has to be some luck. Because apparently when Kobe and Shaq were winning championships, it still wasn't enough for them. They wanted to still be a certain way. It's hard. It's hard to. Golden State is going through this, right? So it's not just a Laker problem.
Yep, and they lost Chris Paul for several weeks after he fractured his hand. They're getting Draymond Green, whose suspension was lifted after 12 games. Do you agree with that only 12-game suspension? Do you think it should have been more?
I don't know. I think Draymond Green is kind of, to me, old news. He does nothing for me.
According to Tom and according to Bill Simmons, it should be traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, Bill Simmons is a jackass troll. Tom, God rest his soul, God rest his heart.
He's not dead yet.
Sorry, Freudian slip there.
You're putting him in the grave. Don't be that.
I don't know what's going on with Tom's. The last thing this team needs is Draymond Green, someone who can't shoot.
I agree.
Who can't really defend anymore and who can't really do anything for you except give you more texts. I
Couldn't
don't.
agree
I
with you
don't.
more.
I just think most of these teams that are great or win, they just reach a finality that just needs to change. The voice needs to change, and you can never let a player run your team. Never let your player run a team. But then you'd have to be like Pat Riley in Miami. He's one of those rare organizations where they can continue to be effective, but the players there kind of get it.
Well, I'll tell you what, my
Problem
friend.
is, but then again, see, they keep reaching the finals. They've reached the finals
Yep.
in 2 of the last 4 finals and I mean, they were pretty competitive with us, but it took every ounce.
And they took a game from Denver.
Yeah, it took every ounce. They were toast against Denver. They were done after that. That not being able to get out of that Boston series, at least in 4 or 5, cost them a championship or even a chance at maybe competing a little bit more. They played as good as they could have played, especially Jimmy Butler.
Look at you started with our chat in regards to Tom. Poor Tom. He never gets a break with us.
I don't want anything to happen to Tom, folks.
I love Laker Tom. As much as we've name called me over the years, I got nothing but love for that man.
It's a joke. It's a joke, and I like to see, if Tom gives it, it's good. I don't know if he can take it, but he gives it.
He's 78 years old, and he's still doing it every day as far as the Lakers are concerned. So.
But Tom also needs to know his trade ideas are terrible 90% of the time.
He doesn't. He trolls himself. He trolls himself. Some of the stuff he puts out there, he knows is trolling when he hits send.
So. No, it was a joke, Alan. Come on. I don't wish any ill will towards Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not at all. None in the least. So, yes. Laker Tom, go ahead and support him today at Laker Tom on Twitter. Also, as well, go ahead and check him out at Lakerholics.com. But, Joe, it is tomorrow. The Clippers, one of the final times they will be sharing the same arena as far as in the same game, unless they meet in the playoffs. And that's, something in and of itself. But, we're here to cover it. We're going to cover it all. We're going to hope that what Vegas has and what everybody else is thinking out there as far as the beatdown is concerned will not happen for the Lakers. But any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll need it. We'll need it. Now Kerr's getting in. Kerr. Oh my gosh. No, it's just like Serge says, blame Kurt if there are any problems.
Alan thinks I'm full of crap, so it's a good way to end the show.
Well, they those two, Kurt and Serge, I've seen them on Empire Jeffs, and they have fun with each other. I think they owe each other like 10 million virtual push-ups or something like that. As far as I guess, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I've lost track. I just see the banter back and forth and I smile because it means that we have a great community here at the Lakers Fast Break, and it's truly appreciated. Serge, again, truly appreciate you moderating as always. No one does it better out there. Cannot thank you enough. Kurt, always a great time here. Alan, Mega Driver, a new face. Please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you here more often. M24, you're awesome as well. Truly appreciate it. Everybody out there that has been a part of our chat and also watching, it's just truly appreciated. And Alan, again, truly cannot thank you enough for stopping by. Everybody else, Darren, of course, Intel Wild, 2 of our awesome regulars that are there. I didn't see Darren for a couple days, so I was worried about you, Darren. So I'm glad to have you here as always. Intel, same thing. So yeah. Kurt Affair says Tom drinks Coast. He's 79. Yeah, that's right. He's 79. So yeah, he'll outlive us all.
I don't age discriminate. If Tom wants to throw down, I'll whoop his ass.
I don't know where that came from, but okay.
Going all in with Alan, Mr. New York.
All right. Oh my gosh. Guys, calm down. Yeah. Man's just trying to live his life over there in Northern California. I got my Yankees, Gerald. I got my 49ers, and I got my Lakers. Yankees are going to get Yamamoto any day now. I remember him telling me that just before they signed with the Dodgers.
Yeah, how funny. That'd be terrible, by the way. Beating up a 79-year-old man. I mean, how pathetic would that be?
I could just see, I told you. I told you.
I got to hand it to Tom because I don't think I'll make it to 79. I think I might make it to like 78 or something like that. But
there you go.
So good for him, especially drinking all that sugar water.
Yes, that he does. The Coke syrup, indeed. But it is the Lakers fast break.
Hey, if that's all he's doing every now and then, that's actually not bad. Not a smoker, right?
Does
he smoke the cigarettes or just this?
No, just this, I believe. So yes, yeah. He's a little bit invested, I will say, into the weed product. But
see, I'm not a
he
big
does
fan
do his daily hikes. He does do his 5-mile daily hikes, I think, in the morning.
See, that's probably why. So he burns.
That's how he. That's how he listened to me in the first place on his daily hikes. So
he burns all that sugar off.
There you go. Absolutely. Next on Lakers playback, Tom versus Joe. Tom was the one nagging me to get on playback. And then he got so irritated with the time delay on playback that he said, I ain't coming back on playback. I'm like, well, thanks. There you go. So, yeah, he was supposed to be heading up our playback shows, and that didn't work out so well, did it? But we're heading up playback, and we truly appreciate it. In fact, we're going to simulcast it again on all of our various channels and formats just for you. So you'll hear us in all of our NSFW glory, as far as all the curse words, all the stuff that's going on, all the crazy conversations, all the stuff that we're talking about during the middle of the game, because we stop usually talking about the game when it gets depressing and start talking about something else that tries to cheer us up and you up at the same time. So you'll hear all of that tomorrow on our simulcast.
Double secret probation. That's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, how long do you think that it will be before Draymond does go on another suspension again for the rest of the year?
That's a great question. I think he's going to probably be a good boy the rest of the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think he'll lose? You don't think he'll lose his temper one more time?
If he does, he will be out for the year, and I don't think.
Do you think somebody will prod him into it?
No, I don't think he'll do it.
You don't think anybody like a Jokic or anybody like that will just, give him an extra nudge or something like that?
Well, let's talk about that. If he lets that affect him, he's going to be gone.
Okay.
He'll be gone for the year. That'll be it. This was the last warning.
Okay. Just
see, and again, I heard a comparison to Rodman. Rodman never did stuff like it's the things that Draymond did with his antics versus the stuff that Rodman did, other than one time when he kicked the camera guy.
Yeah, that was uncalled for.
His was always geared around getting into your head. Draymond's just a fake tough guy. He's a fake tough guy. He's going to go coach. He's going to go choke Rudy Gobert. Why are you coaching? Why are you choking Rudy Gobert? Why don't you go choke Drummond? What would happen then? Would he? No. Drummond whoop his ass. Well, Kevin Garnett had that habit, by the way. He'd always yell at the smaller guys. You want to be a tough guy?
He had the worst shot in his repertoire. That 24-foot shot where he had his feet on the line. He loved that shot. Was so infatuated that shot. It's so irritating. And I'm like, take a step back and at least shoot the three. But he would always take that shot. It was just so irritating that he would do that because it was just, I don't know. I couldn't get it. I couldn't fathom why someone would actually always do that, because he'd always have his feet on the line, his back of his feet on the line. Just take one step back and shoot the three. But yeah.
Derek Fisher had that problem a little bit. His toe was always on the line.
But that was in the front part of his toe. I'm talking about where where Garnett shot it, where his back of the foot.
I think it didn't matter then, since it wasn't a 3-point.
Yeah, it wasn't a 3-point league, but it just is so irritating. Even back then, I was just like, man, dumbass. But anyways, I digress. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We will be back tomorrow for the live coverage of the of course, the Clippers and the Lakers. Looking forward to it. Joe and I will be back. Hopefully, we get Magic Man Sean Grice, who'll get some rest and be back here. He was going to be on tonight, but he's just too tired right now. He's been dealing with some stuff for the past few days, and as he explained the other day, and again, we're wishing him the best. But he said he'll try and be back here tomorrow. Stone is going to be away for a while. He's in the process of moving, so. Wishing him all the best, but he said he'll be back before the trade deadline. Laker Nick hopefully will be here tomorrow. It's always great to have him here. I'm hoping he can be, here. I know he's a very busy man as well. So yeah, we've got a good crew. And John Costa make return from Lakers Corner. I'm trying to get Lakers all day, every day, because I know they were trying to come on our show a couple different times, and so I put out a message to them to see if they're interested on coming on, doing a show around them or having them jump on our post games from the start and not like right, about 10 minutes before we go off the air. So hopefully we can get that straightened out. So we'll see. Always love that Lakers community talk, coming in. So always meeting, like to meet new people. I met you because I was searching out for.
Yeah, I still remember that post. It was right after there was some discussion that Lakers ball would consider doing a podcast, and I was kind of at the forefront of it. And then you came I think a month later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sweet. This is exactly what we need.
I'm just looking for new faces. JSJ, I think it is Aaron. He was in our chat a couple different times. He wanted to jump immediately on. And I don't like posting the link out there because, again, I've seen that gone wrong. If you just email me, and I was begging him to email me.
I want to address one last thing, gentlemen.
So if it is Aaron, I'll reach out to him. I have that typed up on one of my other tabs.
The gentleman who apologized for his comments on New Year's.
Yeah, who was drunk.
What was his name?
I got it here. Just a second. Let me go ahead. Go ahead. Continue. I'll
okay.
Give the name a second.
First and foremost,
he apologized again. By the way,
thank you for your apology. By the way, what you said, even though it was derogatory, was not in any way a bigoted comment. Just understand that.
I notified that to him. Yeah,
that's not how we roll here.
Kuban Skop for the Czech Republic.
We live in this sensitivity thing with comments. Sometimes it seems like people manifest things in their own head. There was nothing wrong with what you said other than the disrespect. It wasn't about who she is.
And I let him know that in a follow-up comment. So Kuban, his last comment to us was okay. He's cool. He's go Lakers, and
you want to not look. I know there are guys that don't like me out there that assume I think a certain way. That's been going on for a very long time in my life, folks. It's not something new, so I'm used to it. Matter of fact, I had a discussion with one of my very good friends who's been trying to pump up sin blades out in the desert with all those rich developments, the Del Webb's golf course types, talking to HOAs and all that. I remember one of his former, he's in real estate business, one of his former buyer, the term he used was, I don't know about that guy. And his name is Blake. Blake was embarrassed to tell me. He kind of, I guess, mustered enough courage to finally say, hey, man, this guy kind of said, I don't know about that guy. And I started laughing. And Blake felt so comfortable after that, telling me things. I said, no, Blake, I know who I am. I know I make people uncomfortable, especially the late 60 baby boomer types. There's a size measuring thing going on for some reason with me, my personality, and the baby boomer generation. I notice it for every 10 of those guys I speak to, there's one of them that you could tell they're just kind of like sizing me up. They're waiting for me to be a scam guy because of the way my delivery is. The ones who love me are always the women in their 30s and 40s. Same with males. I will
leave that one alone.
I'm talking about business here, bud.
I know our chat won't, but I will leave that one alone.
The key is, I don't want people to not like me. That's not how my brain works. But the reality is, if you say things that, let's say, if someone is a deep-seated LeBron fan, and you criticize LeBron, they're going to get mad. Just like deep-seated Kobe fans were when he would get criticized. As much as I love Kobe, for those who have listened to me talk about the 2012 playoff run, him and Gasol lost us that series. That was his second worst playoff series against Oklahoma City. I love Kobe. I'll always will love Kobe, but you got to call what's going on. And by the way, just because I say something about those guys doesn't mean I'm going to go cancel everything. Okay. LeBron has said some things I don't agree with, especially off the court, but I'm not going to go run into a corner, cry, go on social media and say, I'm never going to do this again. Get over it. Okay. It's not that big of a deal. You can say stuff. You can express your displeasure. Let it go after that. Otherwise, you're just like any other schmuck that wants to just have everything the way they want to have it. So, as far as our audience out there who disagree with us, if you will, you can disagree, but you're also going to get a response if I feel like you're disrespecting the people involved in the show. If you hadn't said anything to Z, I wouldn't have cared. I probably wouldn't even have commented. The Z part is what pissed me off.
And her volume was, I get that, and I understand, and I apologize for that personally, because I know there was a couple other people on YouTube that said the same thing in regards to the volume. So I talked to Z about that, and she's gonna, next time she comes on, it'll be better. We'll make it better. That's the case. So for that, we apologize. But the content of what she's saying, that's her opinion. That's her opinion, and she does a lot of research and work into that. That's why she provides the Z notes. She didn't have to do that. She wants to do that, and we're very appreciative that she does. And she and I disagree all the time on stuff, but I do not appreciate enough, what she does for us. I cannot thank her enough for what she does for us. I just appreciate so much what she does for us here at the Lakers Fast Break.
And this is not going to stop. There's going to be, the bigger the audience, the more you'll get the guys that'll say whatever they think they can say because they're behind their little computer. So it's
but
not.
Kuban apology is accepted, and we appreciate it. And he's a regular viewer and listener, and again, I want, it's all water in the bridge. We're all.
And the easiest thing to do in these situations is acknowledge the problem, retort, and if you connect to the response like he did, he apologized, then we all win.
Absolutely, he stood up and he apologized. We called it out, and he apologized, and we move on from there. It's just so funny though, because it came as 2024, here we are, and then all of a sudden you see that, and it's just like the timing.
Maybe he was having a bad day.
Well, it was already 2024, well into 2024 for him. But yeah, it was just so funny. The timing for me, it had just turned 2024. And it was like the first thing you see is ping right there. It's like,
you suck. Happy New Year.
Current Affairs said Zangerstein is the best. We always have her back. Absolutely. She's tremendous. And we truly appreciate everything that she does to contribute for us here at the Lakers Fast Break, and hopefully that she will be able to do so in the not too distant future. Indeed. Mega Driver says salute from Puerto Rico, got a new subscriber. Thank you very much, Mega Driver. Truly appreciate it. I love the fact that the Lakers Fast Break, and that's something I mentioned to Kuvan, is that we've been listened to in over 60 countries, my friend. We listened and reviewed in over 60 countries, from one side of the globe to the other. It just shows you the kind of love that this team, and that the people have for this team, as the Lakers.
It's one of those things that are positive in the new age of communication. We couldn't do this on a radio station 15 years ago. We'd have some radio producer telling us how to talk, how to stand, how to wipe our butts. We were able to get on here at any time, any way, be who we are, and entertain. So not everything is bad, guys. Not everything is bad out there. There's a lot more good.
Dante, CJ is the best of those rookie quarterbacks by far.
You're funny, Dante. Yeah, CJ. I mean, The Texans, it's funny how quick the NFL can turn around.
They were joke, man. They
They
were
were
absolute joke.
terrible. And they didn't even get the first pick. Usually the second quarterback stinks compared
I
to the
was
first.
laughing after they made that trade. What was the trade that they made? Was it with Arizona, or which was the trade that they made as far as when they got rid of the receiver and
The
for picks?
Hopkins.
Hopkins, yeah. And I was just like, man, this organization is an absolute joke. But look at them now. Look at them now.
So
Yeah,
one for Bill O'Reilly. I'm sorry, O'Brien.
yeah. I mean, it's proofs in the pudding right there. We thought he was a joke. We thought the way he was handling the team was a joke, and the
That
laughs
goes
on him, the
back,
laughs
guys.
for him.
That goes back to, again, luck, good coaching, good players. There's this mix in and around that area where they didn't even get the best quarterback in the draft, and look what they do now.
Well, they do now.
And they don't
Yeah,
even have Tank Dell right now. They don't even have Tank Dell. They have Collins turned into Tank Dell when Tank Dell went down. It's and that's the point, guys. Look at the difference between Houston Texans. The number one receiver goes down. They're able to put somebody on there. You look at, let's say, the Baltimore Ravens. I know they lost today, but that's because half their team was sitting. They have Mark Andrews, who's arguably the best tight end in the league, behind, let's say, maybe Kelsey before he kind of started dwindling down towards the end of the year. And then they get Likely in there, and he's the best tight end the last 4 weeks. Excuses. Play better, run a better system, and you won't have those problems when you need to adjust for a couple games.
well, the Texans are definitely having the last laugh now. But speaking of hopefully having the last laugh, it is the Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow against the Los Angeles Clippers. We'll see what happens. It is going to be tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and be on for the pregame, as always, right before the game, giving you the latest news and notes, injury notes. Will D'Angelo play or not? That's going to be an iffy. We'll see. Rui will still be out. He's still day-to-day with that left calf strain. Of course, you know about Gabe Vincent. It might be the debut of Dylan Windler. We'll go ahead and see if that's the case, but we'll talk about it. Of course, we'll be here for the game on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, or available right here where you're watching it, because it'll be a simulcast. We're going to try that simulcast thing again to see how that goes. Hopefully Sharky will not send me 350 responses during the game. Seemingly, I think it went that high, and although I do appreciate his enthusiasm as always, but yeah, it was quite something during the game. But yeah, you'll be able to follow along with us, get to see everything. And then, of course, the post game, the best post game that's out there is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Mega Driver says Lakers tomorrow, 13-pointer, 3-pointers made. I hope it's a little bit more. I hope the Lakers will go ahead and try to defend the three a little more, because you know what, Joe, the Clippers have been really thriving off the three in their recent run.
Yeah, if he plays defense the way they play in the last two games, you can probably call that game after the third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sharky wants to go in the game. That's up to him. Again, I don't know. I'm keeping my hands off of that one. He's saying he's going to go down there. He works with the Lakers Fast Break, and I'm like, no, Sharky, no. We only offered a suggestion and an idea. It's up to you. You're on your own if you do all that stuff. So slow down, buddy. Slow down. So yes, of course, Joe is egging him on at the same time. So yeah, it really works out that way. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching this thing. We will be back tomorrow for the Lakers and Clippers. Hopefully the Lakers can get off the schneid, which I've been saying now for 4 games now. So hopefully the Lakers will get off the schneid, get a win, get a victory at home, and hopefully start a successful month after that. I know I'm being positive. Otherwise, if they don't, and it's another dumpster fire, we'll be here as well to provide therapy. And of course, all the post-game comments that Darvin Ham seems to piss off Lakers Nation with after the game as well. So we'll see what happens there. But what Joe?
Local, man, that's funny.
Yes, absolutely. Current affair, I can see that happening at some point in time. If we ever decide to get press credentials, yes, God help us all. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Mission 24 says the Laker fans of the Philippines love us and we love Z. Yes, we do have a great love for Z. She is awesome, and hopefully she is doing well out there in the Philippines. Hopefully everyone out there around the world where you're watching it. Puerto Rico, great place to be. So definitely appreciate Mega Driver being there, subscribing to us from there. But wherever you're at, whether you're in Trinidad and Tobago, the UK, Taiwan, Germany, Czech Republic, Canada, wherever you're at, truly appreciate you joining us for the show today. Go ahead and check us out if you have any questions. Again, comments below if you're seeing this after the fact, or LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. So for Joe Soro, it's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. It's the Battle of LA. It's the Clippers and the Lakers. Will the Lakers get off the schneid, or will the seat get even warmer for Darvin Ham? We'll find out tomorrow. And whether it be painful or not, we'll be with you all the way right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Be safe, everyone. Have a good one.